This is our K through 5 platform, and we're going to take the next, I'd say 30 minutes or so to run through an overview of the student side as well as the staff side, what you all see when you log into the platform. We're going to talk a little bit just about content and resources, and also user management, how to add new users into the platform, what that process looks like. And so if I could just put out a quick request for everyone to just mute yourselves in the background, and then at the very end, we'll have some time for questions. So what you're looking at right now is just the main kind of landing page for VJSjunior.com. So this is what happens when you just pull us up in your browser. And what you do from there, this is the same for you all as well as the youth. You will click login in the upper right-hand corner. And then you'll need to, basically it says choose your school, begin typing your school name. For you all, it'll actually be under Indiana Alliance of Boys and Girls Clubs. So if I start typing that in, I just type in Indiana, it shows up right away. And then I will click that, and it has that listed at the top. I can put in my username and password. Now I know that can be a little difficult to manage for younger kids, especially. We do have this easy login option here at the bottom of your login page. If I click easy login, you will see an interface of 6 characters where I can put in just actually a really simple code. And that particular code will allow me to just pull up a drop-down menu. I select my name and I can log in that way. So again, this is a good thing to set up for the younger students who may have trouble managing any sort of username and password unique to them. And I'll show you how to set up an easy code a bit later in our presentation. Now, let me just take a couple of steps back and we'll get into the account of one of my students. All right, so this is my student Patricia, and we just logged in. So this is her main landing page. And here we're going to quickly walk you through kind of the 3 main activities your youth can participate in here on the platform. Now, at the very top of the page, they will find a link to Career Central. And Career Central is basically our library of hundreds of career profiles. We have over 400 different career profiles across a variety of different industries. And for the younger kids, we actually will start them out by introducing them to these various career clusters. We essentially have 17 different categories of careers, and they're all broken down essentially by industry or discipline. And students can click on one of these clusters to start exploring career profiles. They can also search in the upper right-hand corner if they have a specific type of career that they'd like to start reviewing. Now let's go ahead and jump into the STEM career cluster. And when you jump into any career cluster page, you'll see a overview video in the upper left-hand corner. This is a, if everyone could please mute themselves, there's a little bit of background noise coming in. So the overview videos will take 1 or 2 minutes to just cover what exactly this career cluster is. We have a nice reading exercise here to the right, just talks about the same overview information. And then we get into all of our fun different career profiles. Now, we can actually jump into, let's see. I know the younger kids, especially, they like some of these. Let's do the volcanologist. This one is actually really cool. So this is what a career profile will look like. This is what it looks like when you come into any career profile. It's going to start out with the job shadowing video here. Now, the video content throughout this platform, it's all produced here in-house. So it's certainly what sets us apart in the world of career exploration. We put in a lot of time and effort. These are very high quality, highly produced videos, and it's something that I know the younger kids especially enjoy about this. So this video is going to just walk us through a day in the life at this professional's workplace. They're going to talk a bit about what it takes to succeed in this career. We also have in the upper right-hand corner some Q&A videos that a student can interact with. That's where this professional just takes a minute or so to answer a question about their work in an interview format. Now we have some additional stuff students can do. They're always welcome to rate their interest in this career from 1 to 10 stars. That's something you all can track, which is useful for any reporting purposes. If a student wants to, they can also fill out this career journal. It's a great writing exercise. It's going to help build on those literacy skills. And here they can just put in kind of what they learned in this career profile. Another great artifact that they can generate here just for your reporting. Now, as I scroll down, you'll see some additional information around the career description. We have earnings information here for every career. We have a future outlook. This is going to be a little bit of information around what the job prospects around this career will look like when that student is finally old enough to enter the career force. And then finally, an additional links page. This is a good example of where we try to build in just some general computer literacy skills into our platform. This will actually invite students to go out into the web, into their browser. We will link various websites around organizations, in some cases, workers' unions, schools, and universities, all related to this field. And that's a very simple breakdown of career profiles. I think some more people are joining. If you don't mind just muting yourself in the background there. I did want to mention, just in general, I see just a ton of success with having students just explore on their own, go into Career Central, explore different careers, maybe find some careers that they would want to pursue in the future, or maybe some that, you know, what their parents' career is and learn about that. There are all sorts of ways just to tap into that career profile library and have a ton of fun. But there are a couple of other activities we'll get into here next that can provide students with a bit of direction around what exactly they'll be doing once they get onto the platform. Now, the next thing I want to point out are the career cluster interest surveys. So we have an interest survey, essentially an interest inventory that students can take here. And let me jump into one that this student has actually just started. So throughout various parts of the platform, you're going to see directions pop up like this. These are automatically read for the younger students. And I will go ahead and click continue to get into this survey. We have a prompt at the very top of the page, which is actually automatically read to me as well. And I can always mute that automatic read function there at the bottom of the page if I want. It's just a little audio button I clicked. For these surveys, I am given a series of activities, and I'm simply invited to rate my interest, the idea of doing that activity. And so learning about issues around the world, maybe a student is just neutral about that particular topic. They will select their response and they'll automatically be moved on to the next prompt. And they can just go through the entire survey this way. Now, this is an 85 question survey, so it is going to take a little bit of time, and students do not need to complete this all in one sitting. Their answers are automatically saved, and I can always jump out. I'll just click the logo there in the upper left-hand corner. I can always jump out of that survey and go explore something else. The results will always be saved here, and I can just continue that. Now, the survey is fantastic because we can go in, and I'll show you a survey this student has already completed. We can go in and see our results, how our interests actually relate or measure up to these various career clusters we looked at earlier. So we have all 17 career clusters that we have stored in our database. And in this case, we have Patricia's score to the right. Essentially, the higher the score, the higher the alignment between her interests and these career clusters. And her top result here was architecture and construction. She can actually click that result like each and every one of these results, she can click her top result and it's going to automatically take her back to Career Central under this career cluster section. And this is where she can start exploring career profiles that will be a good fit for her. So I know reporting is super important in terms of making sure everyone gets the most out of this platform. The interest surveys are probably going to be that most meaningful report where we are really getting an opportunity to measure a student's interests, how they relate to various industries, and what sort of career they may want to look into pursuing. Now, the very last thing we'll look at is another type of activity like the surveys that you will have to assign to students. And this is probably the best part of the platform. We have a variety of different built out lessons that are career cluster specific. Now, these lessons will combine various activities, different videos. We are going to meet actually a cast of characters here in a second that take us on adventures all across the world, learning about careers in these different clusters. And we'll also be learning about a lot of different topics that may be covered in a regular classroom. We'll learn about science, math, social studies topics, history, all sorts of stuff is covered in these various lessons. Now, there are a variety of different lessons with suggested grade bands. We have kindergarten and first grade lessons, second and third grade lessons, and then fourth and fifth grade lessons. An example of a kindergarten and first grade lesson is actually here in this law and public safety lesson. So there, not only are we going to be learning about careers in emergency services, types of careers you'll find in a courtroom, you'll also learn about how to safely cross the road or what number to call in case of an emergency. And then we have this STEM career cluster. And here we'll be solving math problems. We'll be learning about the solar system. We'll be learning about the scientific method. We'll also be shadowing a mechanical engineer and learning about a volcanologist, that career profile we were just looking at earlier. This is a fourth and fifth grade lesson. Now, you'll see those grade bands when we switch over to the staff side. They are not displayed here on the student side. And let's go ahead and jump into the STEM lesson just to show you what a lesson looks like. Now here, it's going to start out with our introduction video. This is where we are introduced to our career crew, and these are different cartoon characters we've developed. They are the ones who are going to lead us on these journeys throughout learning about different career clusters. And I'll quickly show you a trick. At the bottom, you'll see a progress bar that I can actually open up. And because my student here, Patricia, she has completed this lesson before, we can actually navigate through any step in this particular lesson. She's already gone through all this and she can go back and explore what she's already done. She's totally welcome to do this stuff again. Now, we have these cartoon videos and we mix these sorts of videos in here with our job shadowing videos. So I mentioned we explore a volcanologist career. I think that's a little bit later. I'm looking at these video icons here. Okay, so here it is. So this is that volcanologist career profile we were just looking at. That's actually embedded in this particular lesson. And then we mix in those activities. So we have, this is a good example, one I really enjoy, where we match items to whether they're living or non-living. And if I put it in the wrong spot, it's going to automatically let me know I need to try that again. Once you finish an activity, you'll click just the arrow button. And in this case, it brought me to a new video for us to watch. And that's really what it's like to go through a lesson here. This is one of many examples. Each lesson will wrap up with a badge puzzle. So every lesson you complete, you will actually earn a badge that is displayed on your dashboard. Here, you just complete a very basic puzzle to earn that badge. And if I back up to Patricia's main profile, you'll see under her avatar here, she has her collection of badges. So she's completed, looks like 6 different career cluster specific lessons. She's collected badges around those. And we always want to challenge a student to try to collect all 17 badges. Now, that is pretty much a good breakdown of the 3 different types of activities students will participate in here on the platform: the Career Central Library, the interest inventories, and the various lessons. Now, let's shift over to the staff side. Now, this is actually what it looks like to log in as a staff member. Definitely not as bright and colorful or fun as the student side, but we have some fantastic tools here that I want to break down for you all. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that all of the stuff we're about to look at is going to be available to you here in the left-hand side of the menu. And you all will see a few bells and whistles today. Some of this may be new for you all. I really don't want you to get too overwhelmed, because with some practice, this stuff really becomes second nature, and every single thing you will see here today, you can review. We have this help center to the left-hand side of the page, and that's actually where I want to start today. Now, this help center will basically be a collection of how-to articles. So in a little bit here, we're going to look at assigning a lesson. Well, here's a little article that you can access that breaks down step by step what we're about to look at. It includes written instructions, screen caps, all sorts of fun stuff. And it'll break down the functionality of this particular tool. And we can search for terms if we're looking for a specific article. Let's see, like the easy code option. Here we go. So that's another example of how I can just pull up a how-to article. And then we have our on-demand workshops, this bucket here. So we have basically tutorial videos that each one is about 10 to 15 minutes long at the most. It will break down, again, everything we're reviewing together today. So that's where you can go in and review some of this stuff. Let's jump back to the teacher dashboard here. Now, I want to talk a little bit about user management. And under this Manage Users page, let's click that. You will essentially see a series of search filters. Now, these search filters are just different ways for us to look up different users, students on our license. Now, for example, if I want to do a search of an existing user, let's do just a first name search. That one's pretty simple. We'll look for my student, Patricia. All right, so her profile showed up in the results here. And I can go in, I can click her name and kind of track her activity. I can see just in general some basic information around her user profile here. Maybe one day Patricia's trying to log in and she's having some trouble logging in. Well, I can go in and edit her profile and I can change her password here. I'll just click the edit function, change her password, provide her with her username. And that's probably one of the main things you may be doing here under the user management page, is just helping people log in if they forget their password. Now, this is also a place where you will add new users, and there are 2 ways to do that. And I really encourage everyone to add as many users as possible based on what I've discussed with the admin team here. Any young student who is they're with a part of your program, they should have an account here in the platform to log into when that opportunity arises. So there are a couple of ways to do that. We have this yellow button where you can essentially add 1 user at a time yourself, but I really would encourage you all to take advantage of this bulk upload tool. Now, that blue bulk upload button will actually bring up this pop-up window where I can download a spreadsheet. There's some directions around how exactly to fill out this spreadsheet. And then you take that completed spreadsheet and email it to our customer service team. And within a single business day, we will simply plug in the spreadsheet to our system and all of those users will be created. Now, this is going to be the quicker process if you all have a ton of people you want to get into the system all at once. And so I did want to pull up just an example of what that spreadsheet looks like. So this is the bulk upload template. And I know that Jessica has a copy of this. We provided her. This is essentially just different metrics, like different pieces of information we need to create a student account. And to be honest, as long as we know the student's first and last name, and we have a username and password for them, we can create their account. And it's really as easy as that. With this spreadsheet, I will mention there's a second tab kind of hidden here at the bottom where we have definitions for each of those columns. Each piece of information you're welcome to put in there. Now, just like a few other of these things, it may take a little bit of practice, but the user management process is super simple. And again, when it comes to best practices, let's try to make sure that we have an account for every single young person we are working with here. All right, so the next thing I want to just point out while we're talking a little bit about user management is the easy login function. And that's here under easy logins, that menu. Let's go ahead and create an easy login. I'll click that green create button. And this is actually where we will just go in and select a student or maybe even a group of students who will use this easy login code. So let's jump in and let's say, for example, I have a few students here. They are all maybe part of the same cohort, or maybe this is an easy login code we're creating for an entire location. Every student will use the same code who is at that location. That works fine. We'll simply just select the students from a list of all the different students under the license. They are listed here in this table, and I will click Create Easy Login. All right, so we have created that easy login. We have the list of students here that will use this code, and then we have that 6-digit code. So this is the code that we can maybe write up on a whiteboard in the computer room or just provide for that student some way. And they don't need to worry about tracking a username and password. They can simply put in the 6-digit code, and then they'll select their name from this list of names in a drop-down menu, and they can log in that way. It's really as simple as that. Now, there are a couple of other quick things I want to point out here, and then we'll have some time for questions. Next, we'll go into lessons and assessments. So this is where we go in to assign either those interest inventories or these career cluster specific lessons. Now, assigning these two different types of activities are pretty much identical, so I'll walk you through one here. Now, we are under the lessons interface. So this is where I can go in and I can see all the different lessons we have access to. I see the cluster icons, the name of these different clusters. We have the grade band here. So this is where we can see kind of what age group is appropriate for these various lessons. We have an approximate length. So really how much time it would take for someone to complete this lesson, though I will certainly say that depends on the student. This is just kind of an average. This assignments column we'll get to in just a second. Oh, I just reordered some stuff. That works. That's fine. We have this lesson resources column here. This is pretty important. We have in this column next to each and every assignment, or each and every lesson here, we have a few supplemental documents. Now, if you're curious, we do have an outline of each of these lessons. And when I click that outline link, it actually brings me here, and I can download this if I want. It's a PDF file, but it breaks down kind of a summary of the lesson, some of the jobs we'll feature here, some key terms, and learning targets. And it even gets deep into various learning standards. Some are state-based, others are nationwide learning standards. So if you're interested in that stuff, we have the outline. And then something I really enjoy, other activities. So each and every lesson will have some sort of supplemental activity that you can incorporate here to print these out. You'll simply click that link, This is an example for the younger kids where we take some keyword terms and have the students just list them in alphabetical order. We have some other wordplay activities like word searches, crosswords, stuff like that you'll find there. Now, finally, I want to show you what it's like to assign a lesson. Now, when you're going through these and you kind of want an idea of what exactly you're sending to your students, you can always preview these lessons from the student's perspective. When I click preview, it's actually going to bring you right into that intro, and you can walk through this entire lesson kind of like the student would, through the videos, the activities, get the full experience. And then you can click assign here. Now, the students will not have any lessons to work on unless you send them out in the form of assignments. And again, going into some best practices, there is absolutely nothing wrong with sending out a bunch of lessons to all the students just to have for them ready to work on. Anytime you send an assignment out, it's going to be on your students' to-do list. And let me just jump back to my students' profile so you see what that looks like. Here under Patricia's main landing page, she has a few different lessons that she's been assigned. They are here just ready for her to start. She can start those whenever she'd like. And then we have this version here. So you can set up lessons so that students go through them on their own, or you can set them up so they are, quote, teacher guided. And that basically just means maybe in a little workshop or some sort of group activity, you all want to walk through these lessons together as a group. That's something that you have an option to do. All right, so let's jump back and just go into the assign interface. And this is going to be pretty similar to what you all saw here with the easy code creation. We simply just go through and select a few students. So I'll just select some random students here. This is where you go in and select the students that you want to send this assignment to. And you can honestly go in and just click the box at the very top of the page here and automatically select all the students. It's up to you. Now, let's just send this out to a few, clear those out, send these out to a few, just so we're not crowding anyone's profile. And let's create this assignment. All right, so we have created that assignment. I do want to note the progress bar here. So you can go in if you'd like and just track the progress of your students as they're going through the videos and activities in these lessons. This progress bar will populate with that. Now, let's jump back to the main lessons landing page. I can show you how to get back to that particular progress bar. We have the assignments column here. I mentioned we'd get back to this a little later. And I will click this. It's showing me I have 2 existing assignments here involved with this lesson. And I can go in and I can click the assign to link or this view link. Either one, it'll bring me to the same page, or I can get back to this progress view. And that's kind of in a nutshell what it's like to send out a lesson. Another one of those activities you may want to get a little practice with, but it does become very easy once you go through it once or twice. And then we have the assignments option here to the left, or I'm sorry, the assessments option. And this is that interest inventory, and sending this out to students and tracking their progress. It works the exact same way. Now, I do want to note, just because tracking your students' progress and tracking their work, it is very important. I want to just show you this reports page. Kind of like the manage users page, you can go in and just track a student or a group of students based on various search filters here. Let's look up Patricia's profile again. I'll run a search here in the reports page. It's showing me a little bit of information around what tools she's used in the past, how much time she's spent on the platform. I can actually go in and click her name, and it's going to bring me to her user profile, where I can edit her account. I can see all the lessons she's completed, even the lessons she's working on. any assessments she's completed, those interest inventories, any career profiles she's filled out. I can download copies of what she's worked on here, the career profile she's viewed. I can actually download this in a spreadsheet. You'll see the export option there. You can pretty much track all the activity they participated in since they first started here under their user profile. Now, the couple last things I want to point out here, we have Career Central in this menu. And that's actually a place where you can go in and explore career profiles if there are a few you want to maybe explore together with a group of students. So you have access to Career Central here. And then the curriculum resources page. And not only is this curriculum resources page a place where you can go in and download those same lesson outlines and the supporting activities we looked at earlier, like the word searches and crosswords. At the very top of the page, you can download a curriculum grid. Now, this is probably my favorite document for this entire platform. Here in the curriculum grid, you will find a breakdown of subjects that are covered in each and every lesson. So here to the left, we have the different types of lessons and the different grade bands. And then across the top, we have different subjects and what sort of topics are covered as they relate to these various subjects in each lesson. So for transportation, in addition to some reading exercises and some math activities, we see some social studies activities as well, where they will learn about the Great Wall of China and various history topics, looking at maps, things along those lines. So the curriculum grid document is something I really encourage you all to just have handy and maybe familiarize yourself with if there are certain topics you want to cover with groups of students. And that pretty much covers everything I at least wanted to cover in my portion of the presentation today. And we have about 12 minutes left in our time together. So let's get to some questions. And let's see, I see there have been a few chats. Oh, Jessica has uploaded that bulk upload template into the chat. That is fantastic. Thank you, Jessica. And also mention, and this is very important for those of you who don't know, there is a Dropbox folder that your admins have created with a number of different resources, flyers, all sorts of stuff just to help kind of promote this to your students if they want to tap into this on their own. Outside of that, I am more than happy to open the floor up for other questions. You guys can put those in the chat box or even unmute yourself and ask me questions that way.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, guys, the Alliance, we are willing to cover accounts for every site. So if your site does not have an active account yet for Virtual Job Shadow Junior or the Virtual Job Shadow for grade 6 and up, let me know and I can get you an account created. It is extremely simple and quick. And I know that there are several of you on here that utilize this platform, have utilized the bulk upload. And I know that it's worked out pretty well for you. I know in good fashion, we like to hold questions and email Jessica afterwards. I am fairly new with learning the accounts as well. So if you have any questions, I encourage you now to ask Ryan while we have him available for our use.
Taylor has a good question. Can you make easy logins by grade level? And would that be worth doing? So yeah, I think that it would be an incredibly useful tool. And I do want to note just kind of a few logistics. Now, every account essentially across the entire organization, every account across each location is going to work under or is going to live under the same umbrella. Now, when it comes to easy logins, and let's go back to that easy login page. If we go in and create a new one, you will see, let's see, while we are looking for students, here we go. A lot of students are associated with grades. Now that will only depend on whether that information is included in the original bulk upload. You do not need to assign a student to a grade if just to create an account for them, but you do have that option. You can put, again, that in the bulk upload tool, or just go in and edit their account and assign them a grade one at a time. Now, if I have that in here, and I hope this works, in theory, if I just put in, let's see, grade 7, is that coming up? Oh, so that isn't necessarily working with the search tool. So we can just, in this case, sort by grade. So if we go in and sort this by grade, it will show you just all the users under your account assigned to that grade. But again, I want to note that we're going to see a group of students all across the entire organization, essentially. Now, this is an example of where another tool may come in handy that I quickly want to cover since this came up, is our groups tool. Now, we skipped this earlier, but this may be a good option because when you go in and create a group, you can create basically a custom group or a custom search filter for the users that are just associated with your location. So you can go in here once, you can just select the students that are a part of your location, create a group for them. And then when you're going in and assigning lessons or assessments, running reports, creating easy logins, instead of selecting students one by one, you can actually use the group that you built, and just with the click of a button, everyone will be automatically selected in that group. So I think for you all in particular, this may be a pretty useful tool to help save some time and identify easily what students are based at your location there. All right, so we have from Scott, how many lessons are there for K through 1? He says, with our reporting, our members need to explore 10 careers. At my club, the older members like to explore Career Central and do a worksheet, but my younger members more enjoy the lessons. But I didn't know if there are enough lessons for K through 1 to reach 10 career sessions. Now, that is a good question. I can tell you specifically for the K through 1 specific lessons, there are 3 of those, and we can see that just under our lessons menu here. Let's just sort it here by grade band. Oh, that filter does not seem to be working properly, so that is a bug I need to check out. Oh, here it is. Never mind, I was clicking the wrong filter. I apologize. So here we have the grade band filter, the 3 lessons we cover. So law and public safety, transportation and logistics, agriculture, food, and natural resources. I can definitely say between those 3, you will hit more than 10 careers in one way or another. Whether or not those will be deep dives into each career, I can't necessarily say they will be deep dives, but they're going to absolutely get some good exposure to more than 10 careers across those 3 lessons. And if there are opportunities to even try out some of the older lessons for the younger students, I mean, these grade bands are totally just suggestions. They kind of correspond to what you would usually see in a traditional curriculum, but you'll run into students who, you know, are ahead of that kind of traditional curriculum or maybe behind a little bit. There is nothing wrong with sending, for example, a 2nd and 3rd grade band lesson to a 1st grader or maybe even a 4th grader. It's totally up to you all. So if you find just these 3 lessons for the kindergarten to 1st grade a bit limiting, do not be afraid to branch out into some of these other grade band lessons.
And guys, you can utilize that pre-test, that interest survey. That can count as a career session or 2 as well. Like Brian said, it may not be a deep dive into a specific career, but our ultimate goal is to teach the kiddos about the variety of different careers and some of those unique careers that we may not otherwise hear about. So even doing that interest survey would be a good way to gauge some of that career requirement.
Very nice.
What other questions do we have for Ryan?
And we've got some great questions so far, or if anyone here who has used this before wants to share like how they've used it, what they like about it, that sort of thing.
I'll tell you, for tracking, I've heard it's easier for clubs because they don't have to do that follow-up activity. With our career requirements, they do a career session and then they have to do some kind of reflection activity. And with Virtual Job Shadow Junior, those assignments and that reflection activity is built into the overall lesson. So once they complete the lesson, it is done and there's no follow-up paperwork needed.
Very nice.
Hey, Jessica, what has helped for us is that we've shown the videos to just like all the kids connected it to the computer or whatever. And that's been easier for us to do too.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Veronica. And every club will have, you know, unique needs of their own. Some of them will have a computer lab where you can put kids on different accounts, or you may have a projector in the education room where you're just going to show the hospitality section this week. So it's totally up to you at the club what you do and how you project those into whom. And I could see even outside of career, I mean, these are good educational activities. So even if your kiddos aren't participating necessarily in career components of the Indiana Kids program, these are good educational and academic enrichment activities well beyond just thinking career. Workforce development, I could see this going towards our workforce development component. So again, get creative and utilize Virtual Job Shadow. It is a free resource for you guys. We have made that investment because it is definitely a tool that I'm surprised nobody is speaking out about, because I hear it every time I go to a club that they enjoy Virtual Job Shadow. It's made kiddos. My 10-year-old is super excited. If you hand me a tablet and tell me to get on a job shadow that looks like a video game, I'm totally in it, right? So the feedback's good. So I encourage you, if you are on the call today because you are unfamiliar with Virtual Job Shadow, or like some, including myself, I've had an account for a while and I've just never really known how to start or begin that process. So I hope this leaves everybody feeling encouraged and anxious to, you know, let the kiddos get on the platform and try it out.
And I will say that these sorts of opportunities where I can come in and, you know, hold specific workshops. Today we did an overview. We can do deeper dives into various tools. And of course, we didn't even touch on the platform for the older kids today. We can certainly do that at some point in the future. If we haven't scheduled it already, I can't remember off the top of my head, Jessica. These sorts of things are always available. And Jessica and I actually meet regularly throughout the year just to make sure that you all have everything you need to get the most out of these platforms. And we're letting you know about new features because we're always adding new stuff to the platform. And so if there is, you know, you feel like any need for some more support like this, like what we held today, please let Jessica know and we can make that happen. All right, Emily says, this has been very helpful in knowing what members see and how we can track their progress. I would love to see a demo of VJS for the older members. Absolutely.
Yep. Ryan and I have a follow-up call scheduled a week from today to touch base to discuss future needs. So what I would love to hear from you guys, I hear Emily saying that the Virtual Job Shadow platform, again, that's for grade 6 and higher. We will definitely host a hot topic session on that. That way you guys can just feel for that. But if there are any other needs, definitely reach out. That way when we have our conversation next week, we can provide you guys with the tools and resources that are needed. All right, Ryan, we greatly appreciate you being here. I am excited. I can see it on everybody's faces that they're excited too.
Good. Well, thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure. Keep up the great work. And hopefully we'll see each other again here in the near future.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.